Imagine you are standing on the summit of Mount Everest. You have fought through the death zone, your lungs screaming for oxygen that is not there, your blood thickening in your veins. You look down at the world thinking you have reached the absolute ceiling of our planet. You feel like a god. But here is the terrifying truth. You are not even close. While you are gasping for air at 29,032 feet, there is something beneath you, way beneath you, thousands of miles away, in the pitch-black, bone-crushing silence of the Pacific Ocean. There is a mountain that makes Everest look like a jagged little hill. If you took Everest and dropped it next to this titan, Everest would be looking up. Welcome to the world of deep-sea giants. Today, we are diving into the facts that prove Everest is not the largest mountain on Earth, why there are fish skeletons at the top of the world, and how our planet is essentially a giant, shifting jigsaw puzzle that is trying to kill us. Before we descend into the abyss, do me a favor. If you think you could survive a night at the bottom of the ocean, hit that like button so hard it echoes in the Mariana Trench. And if you are sane enough to realize you would be turned into human toothpaste in seconds, then subscribe for more deep-sea nightmares that will make you question every swim. Let us get into it. You know, we have all been lied to in geography class. Since the day you could point at a map, you were told Everest is the tallest. And sure, if you are measuring from sea level, that arbitrary line where the water meets the air, Everest wins. But the Earth does not care about sea level. The Earth starts at the bottom. Enter Mauna Kea. Located in Hawaii, this dormant volcano is a straight-up monster. From the surface, it looks like a beautiful snow-capped peak rising 13,803 feet into the sky. Impressive? Sure. Taller than Everest? Not even half. But here is the catch. Mauna Kea is like an iceberg. Most of its bulk is hidden in the dark. If you were to drain the Pacific Ocean, you would see that Mauna Kea starts at the very floor of the ocean. From its base to its peak, Mauna Kea stands at over 33,500 feet. That is over 4,000 feet taller than Mount Everest. Think about that. You could stack 4 Empire State Buildings on top of Everest, and you would still barely be matching the total height of Mauna Kea. But why does this matter? Because it proves that the highest point is not the tallest thing. Humans are obsessed with the surface because that is where we can breathe. But the ocean floor is the real foundation of our world. And Mauna Kea is not even the only one. There are thousands of seamounts, underwater mountains that are taller than the Alps, the Rockies, and the Sierras, and we have not even given most of them names. Now you might be thinking, okay, so it is a big rock underwater. Big deal. It is a big deal. Climbing a mountain in the ocean is 1,000 times more terrifying than climbing Everest. On Everest, the danger is the lack of pressure. Your lungs can't get enough air. But on a deep-sea mountain like Mauna Kea or the peaks of the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, the danger is the presence of pressure. At the base of these mountains, the water pressure is around 8,000 to 10,000 pounds per square inch. To put that in perspective, imagine an Abrams tank parked on your thumb. Now imagine that tank parked on every single square inch of your body. If you tried to walk at the base of an underwater mountain, your bones would not just break, they would implode. Your internal organs would be flattened into a thin ribbon of organic matter. You're not just dead, you're structurally dissolved. And yet, these mountains are teeming with life. While you're being turned into a pancake, there are glass sponges and Dumbo octopuses just chilling on the slopes. They do not have air pockets in their bodies, so the pressure does not crush them. They are essentially made of the same stuff as the water around them. They are part of the mountain. Let us play a quick game. Look at the screen right now. I am putting up a silhouette of Everest and a silhouette of Mauna Kea. Comment Team Everest if you still think the surface height is what counts. Or Team Abyss if you have officially realized the ocean is the real boss. I will be hearting the best arguments in the comments. Seriously though, imagine the scale. If you were standing at the base of Mauna Kea on the seafloor, looking up at the summit, you would not see the top. Not just because it is dark, but because the summit is over 6 miles above you. That is the cruising altitude of a Boeing 747. You are standing in a world where the mountains are so tall, they literally pierce through the layers of the planet. But here is where things get truly weird. Let us go back to Everest for a second. If you climb to the very top, the roof of the world, and you start digging in the limestone near the summit, you will not find the bones of ancient mountain goats. You will not find the remains of some prehistoric eagle. You will find seashells. You will find fossils of trilobites, crinoids, and brachiopods. These are marine creatures, animals that lived, ate, and died at the bottom of a warm, shallow sea. Wait, what? How does a seashell end up 5.5 miles above sea level? Did an ancient shark have a really ambitious hiking hobby? Did a prehistoric flood reach the clouds? No. It is much more terrifying than that. It means that the summit of Mount Everest, the highest point on our planet, was once the bottom of the ocean. To understand how a seabed becomes a summit, we have to look back about 200 million years. Back then, the Earth looked like a messy room. All the continents were bunched up into a supercontinent called Pangaea. But Pangaea started to break up. One piece, which we now call India, was essentially a high-speed tectonic plate. It was hauling across the Tethys Ocean, heading straight for the massive Eurasian plate. Between India and Eurasia lay a vast, shallow sea. For millions of years, dead sea creatures sank to the bottom, piling up into thick layers of limestone. Then, about 50 million years ago, the collision happened. India did not just bump into Eurasia, it slammed into it. But because both plates were made of thick continental crust, neither one wanted to sink, so they did the only thing they could. They crumpled. Imagine pushing two rugs together on a hardwood floor. They bunch up in the middle, right? That bunching up is the Himalayan mountain range. The floor of the Tethys Ocean, along with all those trilobite fossils, was caught in the middle. It was squeezed, folded, and thrust upward. Over millions of years, what used to be a peaceful seabed was pushed higher and higher, through the clouds and into the freezing jet stream until it became the peak of Everest. So when you stand on Everest, you are not standing on a mountain in the traditional sense. You are standing on a piece of the ancient ocean floor that has been evicted from its home and forced to live in the sky. This means the Earth is a liar. The geography you see today is just a snapshot of a very long, very violent movie. Millions of years ago, the highest mountains were in places that are now flat plains, and millions of years from now, the mountains we fear today will be gone. Take the Appalachian Mountains in the eastern United States. Today, they are old, rounded, and kind of cute, but 300 million years ago, they were as tall and jagged as the Himalayas. They were the giants of their time. But time and weather are the ultimate assassins. Rain, wind, and ice have spent millions of years grinding them down, turning their peaks into pebbles and washing them into the Atlantic. The same thing is happening to Everest. Even as tectonic plates continue to push it up by about 1/4 of an inch every year, erosion is trying to tear it down. It is a cosmic tug of war. In the deep sea, the mountains there are protected. There is no wind. There is no rain. There is no ice to crack the rocks. Underwater mountains like Mauna Kea are essentially preserved in a giant, salty, liquid tomb. They can grow to sizes that would be impossible on land because the water helps support their weight. On land, if a mountain gets too big, the Earth's crust literally sags under its weight. It is called isostasy. In the ocean, the buoyancy of the water acts like a giant sports bra for the planet, holding those massive peaks in place. Now, here's the part that keeps me up at night. We have mapped 100% of the surface of Mars, and we have mapped 100% of the surface of the Moon, but we have mapped less than 25% of the ocean floor. That means there could be mountains down there right now. Giants taller than Mauna Kea, taller than Everest, taller than anything we can imagine, and we have no idea they exist. We find new seamounts every year. Seamounts show up in places we thought were empty. Sometimes we find them because a nuclear submarine accidentally slams into one. That actually happened in 2005 with the USS San Francisco. Imagine being in a billion-dollar sub, cruising through what you think is empty water, and suddenly hitting a mountain that wasn't on the map. That is the scale of our ignorance. There are peaks in the deep sea that have never seen a photon of light. There are valleys deeper than the Grand Canyon where the creatures look like something out of a Lovecraftian nightmare. And all of it is sitting right there, beneath the waves, while we worry about whether Everest is 29,031 or 29,032 feet tall. So, what have we learned? We have learned that Everest is a bit of an overachiever with a great PR team, but Mauna Kea is the true heavyweight champion. We have learned that the top of the world is actually just a very high-altitude graveyard for ancient shrimp. And we have learned that the Earth is a shifting, crushing, terrifying place that doesn't care about our maps. The deep sea isn't just a place where monsters live. It is where the real geography of our planet is hidden. It is a world of mountains taller than the clouds, where the pressure can turn a human into a liquid, and where the history of our world is written in the rocks. Next time you look at a mountain, don't just look up. Look down. Because the biggest things on this planet are usually the ones you can't see. Thanks for watching this deep dive into the abyss. If this video made you question everything you thought you knew about mountains, or if you now have an irrational fear of giant underwater peaks, let me know in the comments below. What's the most mind-bending deep-sea fact you've ever heard? If you could name an unmapped seamount, what would you call it? Drop your thoughts and smash that like button if you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, and subscribe for more terrifying truths about our incredible planet. Stay curious, stay safe, and for the love of God, stay out of the water. See you in the next one.